And now we're live. Okay. Turn this on now, because I'll forget.
Yeah.
That's when you have to get kind of close to. You have to really get up here. You try.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I think they're going to hear it.
They're hearing everything you say right now? Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, one quick question, so I don't have to ask you in the middle of the
It's
service.
okay.
Let's step away from this.
Okay. What you need? Just a second. Let me get my gear on first. Yeah.
Voice in your mouth. With the Patsy Duck should be beginning of this, so fitting.
We don't do any of the Patsy conversations.
Okay.
The only one we do is mortgage conversation.
Right.
That's the compromising.
Okay, but we still do Ahayem.
Yeah, we do all of that, just no cottage.
Okay, so what I will do is I will swipe some.
We do Hecha Kedusha for the other.
Yeah, I understand that, but I will swipe some of the motifs from that Kaddish and put it in top.
Okay. Chag Sameach, welcome to Agudath Israelite Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Welcome to our Shemini Atzeret service. Shemini Atzeret is the day after Sukkot. It is not Sukkot. It's a very, very different day. It's more or less a solemn day. We had a couple things that don't occur in a normal service, which we'll get to in a bit. We are praying out of Siddur Lev Shalem, which is downloadable as a PDF form, in PDF form from our congregation's website. If you would like to follow along with the pages, use your own Siddur as well. We will begin this morning with the Birchot HaShachar, page 103. Please rise, if you are able, for the blessings of the morning. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lasech v'vina elokim ben yom v'ben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shesani b'tzomo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shesani ben charin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Pokeach Ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Mabish Aramin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Matir Asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Zokef Kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Rakal Haaretz al Hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Hamechin Mitzrei Gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Sha'asa likol tzarki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Ozesre bigvuram. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Otesre b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Anotein layoev koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Utenenu hayom avachoyom lechen lechesed rachmi beinecha v'necha v'dig malenu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomer chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. You may be seated. We continue on page 112. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh Sheb Chabrim B'Vet HaMikdash Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat. Od Yenuvun B'Sev Deshenem Chanim Yulagit Yesharat Surivalo Avlatabo. Page 120. Mizmar Shir Chankat Baile David. Hafach Temis Padela Machali Pitaktis Agivas Kani Simcha Laman Yezamechavod Veloidam Madanai Elohai Lelam Odeka. We rise, page 122, for the beginning of Psuke Zimra with Baruch Shemar. Baruch She'amar Ve'hayolam Baruch Hu Baruch Severeshit Baruch Omer V'Yoseh Baruch Ozer Kayem Baruch Merachim Al Haaretz Baruch Merachim Al Habriot Baruch Mishalim Sachar Tov L'Reav Baruch Hai V'Kayam LaNetzach Baruch Pneumatzio Baruch Shemo Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Yachid Chel mi Melech Mishabach V'Desh Magadol Baruch Ata Adonai Melech Mehulal Batishpachot. You may be seated. We continue, page 136. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Odilu Chasel Hashem Shkachalo Ashrem Shananai Elohav Tilele David. Utech et Yedech must be the Chavetz. Tilat Adonai Berpi Vivereheka Basar Shem Kochelelam Vad Vanachne Neverech Yam Yatavilam. Hallelujah. Page 141, Psalm 150. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Bekadosh Bekia Uzo, hallelujah, Viguratav Krov Goodlo, hallelujah, Beteka Shafaladu Meneva Vechinor, hallelujah, Betofa Macho, hallelujah, Minim Viugav, hallelujah, Betilslay Shama, hallelujah, Betilslay Trua, Kolene Shama, Tahalaya, hallelujah, Kolene Shama Talaya, hallelujah, Baruch Adonai Lelam, Amen, V'Amen, Baruch Hametzion Shechein Yerushalayim, hallelujah, Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael Senev Levado Uvaruch Shem Kavodo Lilavi Melech Eviet Kavodo Et Kol Haaretz Amen V'Amen. Page 145. Nishmat Kochai Tivarech Et Shimecha Adonai Eloheinu. Mid melach mishvelach miaharoch lachoi lagadol gibor v'hanora el elyon kanei shamayim va'aretz nahalel lachon shebechacha udvarech et shema kodeshecha kamor leDavid barchi nafshi Adonai v'chal karavai et shema kodesho. Normally, with a Shabbat service, we would change personnel on the bima at Shochin Ad. For the Shalosh Regalim, we change at Ha'el on the top of 147. It's my distinct pleasure to call our Chazan for today, Cantor Neil Schwartz of Dothan, to chant for us the rest of the service, page 147.
Chag Sameach, everyone. There are going to be some very different melodies because this is Shalosh Regalim. Starting with Ha'el. Ahayem. V'tatzumor zecha, Hagaro b'kvod shemecha, Hagibor lanetzach v'hanara b'norotecha, Hamelech hayoshev al kisei ram v'nisa, Shochein ad marom, V'kadosh shebo, v'kadosh ranenu tzadikim baronai, v'yisharim davarei v'fisharim didolol, v'divrei tzadikim didbarak, v'shol chasidim didromam, v'kerev kedoshim titkadash. Makalot ribavot amcha beit Yisrael. Shekein koval koetzim levanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu le'odol le'alel le'shabech le'bahel le'romeim le'odir le'barek le'aleh u'l'kales al kol divrei sidrot v'disbakot David ben Yisai Abdecha Meshichecha.
Page 148.
Ishtabashim Kalat Malkeinu. Brachot behodot me'ata be'adoram Baruch atah Adonai El melchado v'disbakot El odot Adonai niflaot Aboger v'shirezim Ram Melech El Cheholamim.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship, page 149.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Shalom Vahed.
Page 150. You may be seated.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or u'borei koshech osei shalom u'borei et hakol. Amir Lord, V'dorim aleha v'rachamim v'tuvah mekadesh v'yom.
Sorry. Weekday. Sorry, page 152 in the middle.
Amakadesh Amelagam Romam Labero Meaz Amshubach V'Hamafoar Amitnase Mimi Motolam Eloi Olam Baraka Mecha Rabim Rakem Aleinu Adonu Zenu Sur Miska Benu Magenish Enu Miska Badenu El Baruch Gedolea Echenu Fal Zohore Chama Tov Yatzar Kavod Lishmo Meorot Nadan Sebivoduzo Pinot Tzevahav Kedoshim From Meshadai Tamid Mesaparim Kebodel Hu Kedushato Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al Shevach Mosei Yodecha Yom Elrei Or She'asita Yifa'arucha Sehela
Page 153.
Reinu Malkeinu B'Goel Leinu B'Rei Kedoshim. Gulam Ahuvim, Gulam Beruim, Gulam Geburim, Gulam Mosim Be'ema Uvir Aritzon Gulam. Begulam Bodachim et Biem Bikdusha Tohora, Shirov Zimram Barachim Shabachim Varim Umaritzim, Umaktishim Umamalichim, Eshemael Amelech Agadol Agibor Banora. Karoshu Vekulam Mekabelim Alehem Omokut Shamayim Zemizev Notanim Reshut Zela Zeleakdich Liotzeram Ben Nagat Ruach Isavav Ravinim Magedosha Kulam Gecharonim Biomerim Beira Karosh 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 Adonai Tzavot Melech ol haaretz kevodo. Ve'ufanim chayot hakodesh bera'ash gadol mitnaseim lu'matzerafim le'umatam meshabachim ve'yomerim Baruch kavod Adonai magomo. Amechadesh b'vo yom damid ma'aseh bereshit ka'amur le'oserim gedolim gileolam chasto orchadas shavzion da'ir v'nizkechu lanu meira le'odoro Baruch Adonai yoser hameodoro.
Page 154.
Abar abav tan Adonai Elohim. Avienu l'shalom me'ar bakan v'raharetz v'toli keinu koma miud le'artzenu ki el po'el yishuot atau v'anu v'karta b'kolam b'lashon v'girot tanum shinka gadol sel b'emet Odot l'kal yachega b'yava Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'amo Yisrael be'ahava Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'kol lebavcha v'kol nafshecha v'kol meodecha ve'ayu advarim ha'el Sher Anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha shinadam levanecha v'dibartabam shivtecha b'veidecha v'lechtecha b'derech u'b'shochpecha u'kumecha u'ksherdam leod al yadecha v'hayu ledoravod b'neinecha u'gravtam al mezuzah b'eidecha u'b'sharecha hayom. Yimei Hashemayim al haaretz. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor. Kaber b'nei Yisrael v'yamarta aleim v'asu lahem tzitzit. Al kanfei bigdeihem l'dorotam v'natenu al tzitzit. Haganav b'dil v'keret v'haya lachem l'tzitzit. Uritem oto uzgardem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam. Below the duru, acharei lebavchem, yacharei einechem, sheratem zonim, achareihem, ma'antizgru, asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem giroshim leloechem, ni Adonai Elohechem, asher otzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'hiod lachem le'elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, amen.
Bottom of 156.
V'darvadar kayam u'shmo kayam giso nachonu malchuto, emunato lad kayamer. Emetatahu Adonai Eloheinu v'lo yavodeinu b'imodenu malgeinu melech avotenu v'imodenu go'aleinu go'el avotenu b'imodenu yotzreinu tzui Yeshuadenu odenu matzilenu me'olam shemecha ein Elohim zulatecha ezrat avotenu me'olam. Mitzrayim Yotan. Ilot leil yon baruchum vorach Moshe Miriam uvnei Yisrael elecha nushir rabasim garaba v'yamaru kulam mi chamocha va'elim Adonai mi kamocha ner arba kodesh nura tehirot o seifele Shira Kadasha Shibiku Geulim Nashim Kal Sladayam Yakagula Moru Vimlegove Amaru Adonai Yimlo Leolam Vaed Zu Israel Guma Bezrat Yisrael Lekenu Mekha Yuda Israel Go Aleinu Adonai Tzavot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Adonai Kahal Yisrael.
We rise for a Hecha Kedusha, the Amidah for festivals, beginning on page 306 through 314. We will chant the first three brachot together, and then you may continue the final four brachot through 314. Again, we begin page 306.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu b'modenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Elohei Gibor Adonai Elyon Kumel Azrim Novim B'konei Yaakov Zoker Yaseya B'chimot Ivigo Elei B'nei B'neihem Neman Shemo That's one more. Read out loud. Baruch Adonai, Megaye Hamedi. Because the Gabalam is in Monkey Murubish, Main Marom, Gagajuva Yanviaka, because Elze Yamar, Kados, on nights about, Logala is Asmegul Raskadul Adirikas, that must be gold. In a scheme, Masrafim, Madamba Rukum Meru, Arukabul Adonai Mimagomo. Mataidim Logasion, the Robia Minula is gone. He got all the Gadas, but no Kirsadai near ka. Little Vadorun, it's a him. In nature and a Malkudeca, Hadavara Murbishi Reuseka, I did a bid Mashiach Tikeka. In Logarnelium, the heights, on the door, Hallelujah. The door Nagi Godleka, Nitzaknasahim, the Rusatakatis, the Shivka Halloween, Mipinoi Muslim, Yom Melech Gadol Begadosh, Ara, Baruch Adonai, Ahayem, Akaru.
Shemini Atzeret, that does the Zeman, Simchatenu. Again, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Today is called in the Jewish calendar Shemini Atzeret, a largely confusing holiday. It is not Sukkot. We are not required to eat in the sukkah, though we may if we choose to. We don't say the bracha l'shev b'sukkah. We don't use the etrog and lulav. We did that for the last time yesterday with Hoshana Rabbah. And it's not Sukkot, and yet it's called Shemini, the 8th day Atzeret of assembly. So we say it's not Sukkot, but then we say it's the 8th day. Sukkot is 7 days. So what is Shemini Atzeret? Shemini Atzeret is a one-day biblical holiday, not unlike Shavuot. Shavuot occurs 50 days after the 7-day holiday of Pesach and is also called in the Talmud Atzeret, same as Shemini Atzeret. So Shemini Atzeret to Sukkot is what Shavuot is to Passover. We don't want to go home yet. We want to have one last hurrah. We want to have one last chance to offer the prayers that we offered in the last 7 days, either for Passover or for Sukkot. Shemini Atzeret is actually a very solemn day because for Musaf, we add the prayers of Geshem. This is the acknowledgement that in Israel, it's the beginning of the late rains. Geshem means rain, so we acknowledge rain, but we don't actually pray for rain. That also leads to some of the contradiction or interesting problems with the holiday of Shemini Atzeret. We don't pray for rain. Why? Because Sukkot is a pilgrimage festival. When you're done with the pilgrimage festival, you go home. And sometimes that requires it more than a day's walk. So in Judaism, we actually, in the Talmud, it says that God does not listen to the prayers of travelers. You may go, what? Because what do travelers pray for? No rain. Why would you want rain on your holiday, right? So, and that's exactly what we're acknowledging with the end of this holiday is rain. We don't actually pray for rain until in the diaspora outside of Israel, we pray for rain and in the next season. It's the only day in the Jewish calendar that I think is tied to the solar calendar. We actually don't pray for rain until December 4th or 5th. Depending on whether it's a leap year or not, Jewish leap year, I believe. Actually, it may be a solar leap year. Not really sure if I remember that correctly. In Israel, they actually pray for rain a little bit earlier in Cheshvan, but we change part of our nusach, part of our liturgy. We add 4 words to the Amidah of every day, acknowledging that we'll talk about that a little bit later. And we also do Yizkor on Shemini Atzeret. Now that's interesting. We do Yizkor 4 times a year. Actually, let me talk about that when we get to Yizkor. It being a Chag, we add Hallel prayers this time, and Cantor Schwartz will lead us in Hallel, beginning on page 316. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'halel.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'halel. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Adonai.
Miki me apardal, me aspot yarim evion, lehoshevim nedeve amo, moshivi akert abai, emabanim semeka. Hallelujah. B'tzeit Yisrael mi Mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'am lo'ez, Hayraita Yehuda lekodsho Yisrael mamshelodav, Hayam rav ayanos, Hayarden Yisov le'achor, Harim rakkeducherim, Gevaot kibnei tzon, Malka hayam,
Ahayem.
Tiranus,
Kitanus.
Ayarden,
Ayarden.
Tisov leachor,
Isov leachor.
Harim,
Eharim.
Tirkeducherim,
Tirkeduchelim.
Gevaot
Gevot.
kibnei tzon,
Kibnei tzon.
Milibnei Aaron,
Milifnei Adam.
Kuli Ares,
Uli Aretz.
Filipnei,
Milifnei.
Elo Yaakov,
Elo Yaakov.
Hahopchi Hatzur,
Hafi Hatzur.
Agam Maim,
Agamayim.
Kalamis,
Alamish.
Lemayeno Mayim.
Page 317.
Lolan,
Lolan.
Adonai, Lolan, Kvishin Kazen. Atzabim, Kesabim. Israel bedak baronai as ran mumanginamhu. Beit Aharon bitchu baronai as ramumanginamhu. Your Adonai bitchu Adonai as ramumanginamhu. Adonai zakaranu yivarek. Yivarek et Beit Yisrael. Yivarek et Beit Aharon. Yivarek Yirei Adonai. Aktanim im hagedolim. Yosef Adonai aleichem. Aleichem me'abenechem. Viruchim adem l'Adonai. Ose shamayim v'aretz. Hashamayim shamayim l'Adonai. Ve'aretz nadan libnei Adam. Ve'ametim hallelujah. Ve'lo kol yordei duma. Anachnu nevarech ya. Me'ada be'ad olam. Me'ada be'ad olam. Hallelujah.
Page 318.
Ahavt gish Adonai et koli dakronim. Anaron. Midachi. Et alech libnei Adonai be'arzot ha'chaim. Ve'emane ki adaber ani meod. Ani amarti b'chofzi. Kol ha'adam gozev.
Mashiach
L'Adonai kol
Lo
lo
Yala. She showed the same as Shem Adonai Kran.
Because Bakzeh Baktoda, Shem Adonai Ekra. Nidarai Ladonai Asalim, Negdad Nalikolambo, Bekatzrod Beit Adonai, Bedoreki Yerushalayim. Hallelujah.
Page 319.
Hallelujah, Adonai, Kol Goyim, Shabchu Kol Aumim, Ki Gavar Aleinu Kasto, Ve'amet Adonai Leolam, Hallelujah. Even though we can't wave the lulav anymore, but let's still use the Na'anuim melody. Oh, Adonai, Erov, Yomar na Israel ki leolam chasdo. Yomru na bedaron ki leolam chasdo. Yomru na yir'ei Adonai ki leolam chasdo. Min hametzar aradia anani v'merkavya. Min hametzar karadia anani v'merkavya. Anani, 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 v'merkavya. Anani, 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 v'merkavya. Adonai. Oziv zimradia vayhiri rishua. Oziv zimradia vayhiri rishua. Oziv zimradia vayhiri rishua. Oziv zimradia vayhiri rishua. Hikuri share zerek avobam odeya. Ze hashar laronai tzadikim yavo. Odecha kiani tani patehili lishua. Odecha kiani tani patehili lishua. Even masu habonim hayata merospina. Even masu habonim hayata lerospina. Me Adonai hayata zot hi niflat b'einenu. Me Adonai hayata zot hi niflat b'einenu. Zer hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismakavo. Zer hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismakavo. Anna Adonai Hoshi Anna Anna Adonai Hoshi Anna Anna Adonai Atzlich Anna Anna Adonai Atzlich Anna Baruch haba b'shem Adonai Baruch Eli ata ve'odeka Elohai aromameka Eli ata ve'odeka Elohai aromameka Hodu l'Adonai girov Ki le'olam chasdo
$321.
Kileka tov lahodolu simchana el zamer כי מעולם ועד עולם אתה אל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מולל בריש בכל.
Amen. You may be seated just briefly. We are going to continue with our virtual Torah service. I was trying to think if we had 4 more people show up, we would have to stop and retool for an actual Torah service. But and I wish we could do that. I mean, this is as close as we've come to an almost. It's pretty good. This is really, it feels good. In any event, we are going to begin on page 322. Again, we'll do our our pandemic virtual Torah service. Since the first reading is very long, I probably will just do one aliyah, which comes from Deuteronomy 14:22. And I'll tell you what page in your Eitz Chaim Chumash in just a moment. So we will begin on page 322. And we don't need to rise until the ark is open in the middle of the page. So.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עושה עמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אב הרחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך עירם בנישא, אדון עולמי.
Please rise as the ark is opened.
בנשוא אהרון, ויאמר משה, מה אדוני ויחוצו אויביך, וידוסו משנאיך מבניך, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל, בקדושתו.
Page 323.
Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Ahayem Rav Chesed v'emet, Noser Chesed l'alafim, Nosei avon v'avesha v'chata v'nakei. Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Ahayem Rav Chesed v'emet, Noser Chesed l'alafim, Nosei avon v'avesha v'chata v'nakei. Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Ahayem Rav Chesed v'emet, Noser Chesed l'alafim, Nosei avon v'avesha v'chata v'nakei. Yerushalayim rivi v'gion libi levanecha, Adonai tzarech v'koli. Mir vilari lekarunai ratzon. Elohim berov chastecha. Onedim bedishecha. Ani de vilari lecha. Adonai et ratzon. Elohim berov chastecha. Aneni, Emedisheka.
Continue with the Shema, page 325.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh, V'Shlomo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Norah.
God Adonai, Roma Masemo Yaktav, Adonai Agadura, Adiver Ve'anei Tzakavod, Tikol Basamayim Uvaharetz, Tikol Basamayim Uvaharetz, Adonai Amalach, Ayamid Naseh, Kol Harush, Romamu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'Yisakavu, L'Harom Raglav Kadoshu, Romamu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'Yisakavu, L'Har Kodsho, Tikados Adonai Eloheinu.
You have an 8th time Chumash. The reading will be on page 1074, it's 1074. And let me just take a check here. Yeah, I'm probably just going to do one aliyah. Some of these readings tend to be a little bit long for the holidays, some of them short, but, you know, the rabbis wanted to expand that bandwidth and make these as long as possible, I suppose. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22, again on page 1074. I will chant the aliyah and then I will translate. Seher taseher et kol tvuat zarhecha hayotze hasadeh shana shana v'yachalta lifnei Adonai Elohecha bamakom asher yivchar l'shakein shemo sham Mathar ganecha tiroshecha v'yitzarecha Amna uvechorod b'korecha v'tzonecha laman tilmad lira et Adonai Elohecha kol hayamim v'chi yirbe mimecha derech ki lo tuchal se'eto Ki yirchak mimecha makom asher yivcha Adonai Elohecha lasum shemo sham ki yivarechecha Adonai Elohecha v'natata bakasef v'tzarta kesef biyadecha v'elachta el hamakom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha bo v'natata kesef Becho asher ta'aveh nafshecha babakar uvatzon uvayayin uvashechar uvecho asher tish'alcha nafshecha ve'achalta sham lifnei Adonai Elohecha v'samachta ata uveitecha V'helevi asher bish'arecha lo ta'azvenu ki ein lo chelek v'nachala imach mikzeh shalosh shanim totzi et kol masar tevuatecha bashana ההיא והנחתה בשעריך ובהלוי כי אין לו חלק ונחלה עמך והגר והיתום והאלמנה אשר בשעריך ויאכלו ושבעו למען יברכך אדוני אלוהיך בכל מעשה ידך אשר תעשה. You shall set aside every year a 10th part of all the yield of your sowing that is brought from the field. You shall consume the tithes of your new grain and wine and oil, the firstlings of your herds and flocks, in the presence of the Lord your God, in the place where he will choose to establish his name, so that you may learn to revere the Lord your God forever. Should the distance be too great for you, should you be unable to transport them, because of the place where the Lord your God has chosen to establish his name is far from you, and because the Lord your God has blessed you, you may convert them into money, wrap up the money, and take it with you to the place that the Lord your God has chosen, and spend the money on anything you want, cattle, sheep, wine, or other intoxicant, or anything you may desire, and you shall feast there in the presence of the Lord your God, and rejoice with your household. But do not neglect the Levite in your community, for he has no hereditary portion as you have. Every third year you shall bring out the full tithe of the yield of that year, but leave it within your settlements. Then the Levite who has no hereditary portion as you have, and the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow in your settlement shall come and eat their fill, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the enterprises you undertake. Interesting, there's so many interesting things in this particular aliyah. Hold on one second. Um, 22. Okay. Did I start in the right place? I may not have started in the right place. Just looking here. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I think I got myself a little off. Okay, there it is. So the first thing I note is if the distance is too great for you. So it's talking about the Shalosh Regalim. It's talking about the pilgrimage festivals, and each of the pilgrimage festivals is has an agricultural component, a religious component, and a historical component. But the agriculture means there is some type of harvest that has taken place, and you take a tithe, a 10% of that produce, and you bring it, and that could be a flock or it could be the field. You were to take that tithe and bring it to Jerusalem, and you're to give some of it to the Levite in your presence, and some to the Kohen when you get to Jerusalem. But it doesn't say Jerusalem because Jerusalem isn't a city yet. It says you shall bring the tithe to the place where God will place his name, which is different from the other places in the Bible where it says that you shall bring the sacrifice or the tithe, you shall bring it to the place that God resides. Okay? Not his name, but he physically resides, and that is the Mishkan or the desert sanctuary, or eventually when the people conquer the land of Canaan, they will set up a permanent sanctuary. Okay, but in Deuteronomy, which is a really different type of book, the language is all different. No longer does God live in a sanctuary, but his name lives there. You know, it's not an insignificant change in the text of this book. Everything is in the name. Everything is in the name. And it says if the distance is too long, don't bring that cattle. Don't bring all of that stuff. It's too burdensome to take all of that. Convert it. Sell it. Take the money, which is easier to carry. Wait till you get to Jerusalem, and then transmit it back to the flock or the field, and then offer that. There are several times in the Torah where distance becomes a factor, and a compensation or a lenience is offered. This is one of them. The other one is if you desire meat, okay, if you want to have meat, the only place you can have meat is in Jerusalem, is at the Mishkan. You have to bring whatever it is you want to eat to the priest. He will take his portion, cook it for you, and give it back to you, and then you may eat. That's a long way to go for a hamburger, to go to Jerusalem, okay? It's a really long way to go. So, and another part in Deuteronomy, another lenience is given. If you live, again, far from the place where my name is to be established, you may bring that animal to the gates of whatever city you're at, and you will slaughter it in the way that I have shown you. And interestingly enough, nowhere in the Bible is that mentioned. How? It's never shown to the Israelites how they're supposed to slaughter. It's assumed that they knew what it was. And you may then eat your meat as long as it is slaughtered in the way that I have shown you. So there's another convenience, another lenience. So if you want a hamburger now, you just have to go to the gates of your city. But in this particular portion, we are talking about the pilgrimage festivals. 3 times a year, you are to take your produce to Jerusalem and sacrifice, and not only sacrifice, but you're going to Jerusalem with everyone else. It is really not just a pilgrimage festival. It is a conclave of everyone that observes Judaism with you, all being in the same place, observing the same holiday. I find that really, really comforting. I find that amazing. Every Jewish town, every city that I've ever lived that has a synagogue, these are the days where people come together. These are the high holy days from Rosh Hashanah through the end of Simchat Torah, which is tomorrow, are all cause for celebration and cause for Jews coming together to celebrate these holidays. It's this which really strikes me as being at the heart of Judaism, and that is community. If we can't come together as a community, we're not a community. So, tonight when we gather for Simchat Torah and our cabbage dinner, we will have community with us. I think we have over 50 some odd people signed up tonight, which is phenomenal. We have a phenomenal voice, singing voice with Cantor Neil Schwartz, who will help us be joyful when we dance with the Torahs tonight. So this is what this portion does to me. It tells me why I need to be here. I need to be here for community. I need to be here for you, and you need to be here for me.
Good.
We will offer a mishaberach for those in and out of our community in need of a blessing for physical, spiritual, emotional healing. I will add the names on our list. You may add the names on your list, and those online can type in the names you would like to add as well. Helen Byrne, Chana Batzar, Marjorie Allen, Charles Miller, Marsha Orange, Leon Capuano, Virginia Madden, Tana Ballard Rivera, Roberta Rivera, Lynn Schul, Baruch Ben Elisheva, Kay Booley, Jeannie Meiser, Deanna Barber, Jeff Colwell, Margaret Caldwell, Benjamin Ben Miriam, Susie Bierman, Ray Labato Jr., Lloyd Amoy, Maddie Raminga, Iris Rivka, Becca Martinez, Mary Savko, Marlon Barnes, Isaac Ben Joseph, Zoe Martinez, Tara But Joseph, Nikki Decker, Daniel Ben Chava, Josie Labato, Teresa Labato, Kayloni, Marcia Price, Phyllis Carson, Art Sandek, Buddy Labato, Malky Amster, Alberta Parker, Raymond James Gray, Johnny Sweat, Ernest Wayne Russell Jr., Millen Martinez, and Terry Raminga Burke. And Mo Shepherd. Larry. David? No. Gittel Tamar Bat Miriam, Sarah Shoshana Bat Nami Rivka, Yael Bat Nami Rivka, David Kelman. Okay.
Very rude, special budget.
Viet kolchim bekila kedusha Agudath Israel tzachayv kilem temple beth or hakadosh bruchim alei rachamim aleihim lachazim b'rabatam v'shlach leim erfush leim menashemat nefesh v'udaguf b'toch shach le'Israel yom tov hu melizok rufa karova lavash t'baglav zman kariv v'nomar amen. I wish all of those suffering a refuah shlema, a quick and complete healing. We now, hang on one second. Okay. Okay. We will now make this back here. Okay, thank you. So 4 times a year, we have communal memorial prayers for all those in our lives that we wish were with us right now, but no longer walk this earth, in prayers that we call Yizkor. Yizkor comes from the Hebrew word zacher, which means to remember. These are remembrance prayers. And we say these 4 times a year: the last day of Pesach, the second day of Shavuot, the day after Sukkot on Shemini Atzeret, and on Yom Kippur. It's interesting, it's always on the last days of a holiday. I don't think that's by accident. I think the rabbis were attuned to us getting very, very tired, if you will, and shuled out, excuse me. So they made these prayers, and the part of the holiday we're least wanting to come to shul, and they put it on the last day of the holiday for Yizkor to make sure that we don't leave out those who no longer are able to sit with us. So you do Yizkor at this point. Ask the Chazan to come back up. We are on page 330. Sorry, we're gonna invent this as we go. So page 330. You start with Adonai Ma'adam.
Adonai Maram, Patiraehu, Ben Enosh, Vatkashveu, Aram Lahebel Dama, Yamam Kitzelover, Abu Kiryat Tzitz B'Chalaf, La'erev Yemolel B'Yahavesh. Limdot Yameinu Kenura B'Navi Devav Chochma.
Some of us recall parents who gave us life, who cared for us, nurtured us, and who taught us to take our first steps on our own. Some of us remember a wife, husband, or partner, our friend and lover with whom we shared so much of our lives, our failures and achievements, joys and sorrows, intimate secrets. Some of us recall brothers and sisters who matured together with us, sometimes competing with us, and sometimes encouraging us on, bound to us by a lifelong relationship. Some of us remember children entrusted to us too briefly, to whom we gave our loving care, and from whom we received a trust that enriched our lives. Their memory is always with us. Many of us recall relatives who knew us, teachers who affected us, and beloved friends who walked beside us in life, guiding us, listening to us, supporting us. Our lives are shaped by those who were alongside us as we walk on our path. May our inheritance impel us to strive to live lives of holiness and service. May memories of love inspire us to love. May painful memories impel us to mitigate the pain others experience. And may we be granted the strength to affirm life's meaning, even in the face of death.
Shiviti Adonai lenegdi dami, kimi midni ba'alemut, lechein samach libi, vayagel gevori, af besari, Ishkon laverach.
We continue page 334. One generation passes, another comes, but the earth remains the same forever. No person has authority over the wind to halt the wind, and no one has authority over the day of death. A person does not know what will be, for who might tell you what will happen? Everything is a time and place under heaven. We leave the fragile sukkah open to the chill, to a strong wind, wistful. God says, stop a while. Stay with me one more day, just one more day. In the deepest shadows, I whisper to you so no one can hear. Love, stay with me one more day, just one more day. The branches and leaves were easily cut from the nourishing soil. We tossed them up and they landed. A rough open weave settling in, a festooned roof, and stray open spaces. For now I live in the roughest weave of splintered branches, broken spaces. With time, the weave softens and settles upon me. Its fine hand, a talit, shelters my soul. I weave you in, my holiday guest, who once was part of me and I of you, It is night when I search the dark sky for a glimmer, a hint of your soul. I yearn to see it among the holy and the pure, and I let you go in the vast unbroken beauty. We rise, page 335, to offer personal memorial prayers for our loved ones. Yizkor Elohim et nishmat. Yizkor Elohim et nishmat. 335.
Yizkor Elohim et nishmat. Kol ele sheizkartu hayom, shalechu leolamam. No dreams of God, but hasbarat nishmoteim. Ana tehinapsham sura, it's road napshoteim. The road beats roar Ahayem. Utahim nukaram kavod. Sobas makot et panecha. Nimo b'mincha netzach. Amen.
Spend a few more minutes with our individual memorial prayers. And now we will continue, page 336.
Yizkor Elohim et nishmot yedidenu, Kevre akal kadosh hazeh, shalechu leolamam. Anati et nafshotehem, tzrurot b'tzror achayim, utehim menukadam kavod, sovas machot et bonecha, nimo b'minecha netzach. Amen.
And on the bottom, page 336 on the left, we'll add an El Malei Rachamim for all of our dead.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochein B'Meromim, Hamatzei Menucha Nechonat, Agarkan Ve'Ashechinam, B'Malut, Kedoshim U'Deorim, Kezoar Araki Amazirim, Nishmot Goleles Yizkarnu Hayom Libracha, Shehalechu Leolamam, Vegan Eden Tehim Nugadam. Ana Baal Rachamim, Hastirim Bezeder Ganavelcha Leolamin. Utzror b'tzror Achayim et nishmotehem. Adonai hu nachalatam. Yanuchu b'shalom al mishkavodeim. Venomar. Amen.
Page 337, let us join together in Psalm 23. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God lays me down in green pastures, leads me to still waters, renews my life, guides me in right paths, for that is God's way. Though I walk through a valley as dark as death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table before me in full view of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup is overflowing. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. Let us join together, page 338, with the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'yomad divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon, v'chayedachol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalav izman kariv imahu amen, yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach li'olam umel maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei kudisha barichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'yoma v'mahu amen, yehi shlama rabba min shamayim, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'mahu amen. Oseh shalom b'mermo, uyaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'mahu amen. And we continue, may be seated briefly, and continue with Ashrei, page 339.
Ashrei shvevitaka hodiru kasel, Ashrei Adonai So may God and I go of him the way Tehillat Adonai daber pi v'vareko b'asar shem God shalom ba'ed v'anachnu nevarech yah me'ad ha'vi'ad olam Hallelujah.
We rise as the ark is open, page 340, to return our virtual Sefer Torah.
Yeah, hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Kidis Gav, Shemo Levado, Oro al Eretz B'Shamayim, Vayarem Keren Le'amo, Tehillah L'Kol Chasidav, Libnei Yisrael Am Kerovo, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. David Mizmor, Ladonai Haratzum Loha, Tevel Yoshpeva, Ihu Al Yamim Yisara, Yonah Rotichon Neha, Mi Ya'aleve Haradonai, Mi Yakum Keeping Gong Gocho, the Kichavayim Ubarleva, Asher Lo Nasalas Lav Nafshi, Lo Nitpal Mirma. Yisav Baracha Meir Adonai, Utstaka Meir Yishro, Zedor Dorsa, Oveis Banakal Yaakov Sela, Zusharim Rasekem, Pinasu Piteola, Diabo Melech HaKavod, Mizem Melech HaKavod, Adonai Isus Megibor, Adonai Gibor Milchama, Zusharim Rasekem, Ustu Bigei Olam, Yavo Melech HaKavod, Mihuz Melech HaKavod, Adonai Tzevaot, Melech HaKavod, Selah U'Koyoma.
Page 342.
Konecha Yilbish and Tzedek V'Chasideka Yeranenu. Ba'avur David Avdecha, Al Zei B'nei Meshikacha, Hileka Klov Nadani Lagem Torati, Al Zasavu, Ispaimi, Tamakazikim Ba, V'do Kehameusar, Terakahar Noam, V'kol Nativotecha, Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai, Elech Abenashua, Kahadesh, Kahadesh Yameinu, Kahadesh Yameinu, Kekerem.
You may be seated. Okay. So I'm going to give the Chazan a chance to gear up for Geshem.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So there are two times of the year where we change our focus of our praying. When Shemini Atzeret, again, as I mentioned before, we start acknowledging the rainy season in Israel. And this is solemnized by the recitation with, do we call these akdamot? Or is that the other one?
Akmod is,
The-
Kavod.
Okay, all right, that's right. Sorry. So I'm thinking about something else. We solemnize this with the prayers for Geshem, the prayers for rain. And this allows us a way to know that we are supposed to change our liturgy within the second bracha of the Amidah, where we usually say Morid Hatal. We acknowledge the dew when it's not the rainy season, and we change to Mashiv Haruach Morid Gashem. So, and all we say is we acknowledge that that God brings the winds, and He brings down the rain. It's an acknowledgement. It's not a prayer. It's an acknowledgement of what is in nature. And there are special tunes that are used, nusachim or nusachot. I never know which way it is. What is the proper term?
Nuschahot.
Nusachot, okay. And so, let me find out where we are.
Well, I actually marked
I will get there in just a second.
We're going to start on 306, but then I'm going to jump to.
So the Tefillah to Geshem,
Oh, no, it
actually,
has its
hold
own-
on, Cantor, hold on.
Yeah,
Hang
it has
on,
its own
I got it.
343.
I know. The Tefillah Geshem is actually on page 377. We will begin, I guess we begin on page 374.
Well,
Yes, we're going to do a Hecha Kedusha. So therefore, we begin on page 300.
oh, it has it here. Okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
Good. We're good.
Thank you for acknowledging what
Can I say something
nature gives. So we will start the brachot on page 374. Ask everyone to please rise. And then as we start the second bracha, we will add the prayers recited on Shemini Atzeret for rain. And then after that, you may continue the, let me see how this works. Hang on. After we finish Geshem prayers, we continue back on page 344. I know this is really confusing, okay? That's the way this works. So we'll say the first two brachot, page 374 through, I believe, page 3, well, we're not going to do all of this, but it'll, page 334 to page 3, at the outset, it's going to be 381. After the Chazan is finished, then we individually turn back to page, actually, together we'll turn back to 334 for the addition to Mashiv Haruch Merir Gashem, the end of the second bracha, and then the Kedusha, which is on 344. And then you may continue through the end, page 466. I need to have cue cards for this. It's very, very confusing. So again, we will start together on page 370.
And the reason that I'm wearing this white robe is because the gates of heaven are open through at least Hoshana Rabbah, if not also Shemini Atzeret. And since we began on Yom Kippur by wearing white in hopes that that will help let God know that we are in a penitential mood. This is an echo of that several days later, and a way of visually showing that this is all one period of penitence.
Page 374.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Eloi Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanura El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Govim V'Konei Hakol V'Zoker Chasei Avot V'Imaot U'Mevei Goel Livnei V'neihem למען שמו יעבוד, מלך עוזר ובוגר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. 377. Eloheinu, Eloi Avodeinu, Ve'imotenu, Zechor avnim shach acharecha kamayim, Ve'rakto k'yetzedu al balgei mayim, Genando itzalto me'eshumi mayim, Drashto bezoro al kol mayim, Bavur al adim mayim. Zechor anulada bivesorat yukachna me'ad mayim, Pesach aloro, peshochato lishpoch, damo maim. Tzier gamu lishpoch lev gamayim, chafaru matah berod maim. Betzid kochon, Chashrat Mayim. Zekor Ta'an Maklo Ve'avar Yarden Mayim. Ich had levagol even mi pi ve'ermaim knevaglo sarbelul me'eshu mimayim Lachein hivtaglo eyodimo ba'esh uvamayim bavur al timnah Mayim Zachor Mashui Betevat Gomer Minamayim Namud Alod Alavis Kasonaim Sigulekait Samaulamayim Al Hasella Hak Beyates Mayim Tzikochon Chashrat Mayim Zachor Bekech Atod Stovela Chamesh Tvilot B'mayim So El Marchit Kapav Bekidush Mayim Go Reu Mazeh Tohorat Mayim Ruchak Me'am Harshas Kamayim, Pavuro Altinamayim, Zechor, Shnei Maser Shabadim, Shehevarta, Begizrat Mayim, Sheim Takta Lamo Mirirud Mayim, Uldodam nas nishpach kamamalecha kamayim tefen ki nafsheinu afafu mayim betzidekam ton kashrat mayim shatahu Adonai Eloheinu Mashivaruach Umorid Agashem Libracha Belo Liklala L'chaim Belo Lamavet L'sova Belo Lirazon Amen
Page 300.
Amen
344 with
Mekalkel Chaim Begeser Ge'emirim Ragamim Radim Sovek Novelim Robekolim Umadir Atzurim Chaim Emunado Lishe Le'achar Become Mokabal Geberodom Midom Elach Melech Mirum Chaya Umatzmi Ach Yeshua Benemon Odolach Yod Meidim Baruch Adonai Mechaye HaMeitim Aritz Gavenati Shekar Kesod Si Aksarfe Kodesh Amagdishim Shimcha Bakodesh Kakatu Alya Neviecha Vikara Ze El Ze Ve'amar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzavot V'lo kol haaretz kevodo Kevodo malei olam mesharet avsholim zeh Ahayem kon kevodo Lumaram baruch yom beru Baruch kevod Adonai min makomo Mimekomo, even Barakami, Miakona, Mam Yakarin Shemo, every Boker Bekol Yom Damid, Maim Biavas and Maomim, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Eloheinu, Avinu, Malkeinu, Mosheinu, Behu Yasmin Barakam Abzei, Nidle Nekol Chai, Lihiyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohegem. Adir, Adireinu, Adonai, Adoneinu, Adir Simcha b'kol haaretz, V'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, V'yom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, U'divrei kotzeka kadu b'lemor, Imloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Zion, Ledor Vador, Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Nagi God Lecha, Netzach Netzakin Kedushat Chanaktish, Veshivcha Eloheinu Mibinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Va'ed, Ki Melech Gadol V'Kadosh Ata, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el Shemini Atzeret says nothing but thing we recorded.
And we continue to turn back our pages. We'll be at the beginning of the book soon. Page 204 in Kelohenu.
In Kelohenu, in Kadonenu, in
Kemalkeinu, in Kemoshienu,
Mi Kelohenu,
Mi Kadonenu, Mi Mechem Malkeinu,
Mechem
Moshienu,
Moshienu, hey, no del Eloheinu, no del Adonai, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonai, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonai, Tahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shekiru Avoteinu Lefanecha Et Ketoret Hasamim En Keloheinu En Gadonenu En Kemalkeinu En Kemoshienu.
Page 205, we rise as the ark is opened for Aleinu.
Akadosh Baruch. Adonai imlok leolam vaed. Emma Adonai lemelech kol haaretz. Hayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushmo echad.
Maybe see that. Those observing yard site, the nose who mourn, please rise. And page 207, and join me for the Kaddish tone, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash meraba, v'yoma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, Ba'agalav izman karivi mahu amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam umel maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel shmei kudisha barichu. Le'lam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata. Ta'amiran v'yoma v'mahu amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemayim v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'mahu amen. O say shalom b'mermav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imaru, amen. May be seated. Thank you all for joining us. We had 7 in the sanctuary. That's phenomenal for one of the Shalosh Regalim, for this Shemini Atzeret. Tonight, we will gather at 6 p.m. To celebrate the end of the holiday with Simchat Torah, a holiday where we end the reading of the Torah and begin again immediately. And it's our chance to have unbounded joy as we dance with the Torahs. We have cantorial support this year, which is great. So now you don't have to listen to me drone through these songs. And so I'm really happy that Cantor Neil Schwartz is going to be with us this evening to help us celebrate Simchat Torah. And of course, right after the service, we will all partake in arguably the best meal of the entire year with the stuffed cabbage. So we are looking forward to that. We have a lot of people. We have more people signed up for tonight than we did for Breakfast, interestingly enough. And so we're really looking forward to that. So, and then tomorrow morning, Chazan Neil and I will be back for the last service of the high holidays for Simchat Torah tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. And then, of course, the entire high holiday season ends with 3 stars on Tuesday evening. So, and we look forward to the radical normality of having a Shabbat with no holidays as we begin with the book of Genesis this coming Saturday. Interestingly enough, I also look forward to celebrating a wedding on Saturday night at the Biscuit Stadium, of all places to do a wedding, right? So with that, we will go ahead and conclude our service, page 211, with Adon Olam.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra Le'et nasa v'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra Azai melech shemo nikra Yacharei kiklora gol levaroim lo gnora V'hu haya v'hu hove V'hu yiyeh b'rifara V'hu yiyeh b'rifara V'hu echad v'yein sheni L'hamshil lo l'hachbira V'li reshit v'li daklit V'lo ha'oz v'hamisra V'lo ha'oz v'hamisra V'hu eli v'chai goali Tzur kevli b'eit tzara V'hu nisi umanosli Menat kosi v'yom ekra Menat kosi v'yom ekra V'yado avchid ruchi V'yet ishan v'a'ira V'imruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo ira Adonai li v'lo ira.
Hag Sameach, as I like to say this time of year, Hag Sameach.